While Acid Rain is known for its 1/18th scale and world building, today we're going to be taking a look at their massive jump into the 1/12th scale. This figure, War Banner, is from the new Novark line by Fext Hobby. He's gritty, he's modular, and he might just be the new king of your 6-inch military shelf. Out of the box, you'll notice that signature Acid Rain aesthetic, but with a small twist. Unlike the 1/18th scale line, where they're heavily weathered from the factory, these figures come with a much cleaner finish. You're still going to get that sculpted detail, you're just not going to get that wash. It does make the mechanical details pop just a bit more at this scale. First up, we're going to take a quick look at the box. You can see we have his name down here, War Banner, FXHAR002. Second figure in the wave, Acid Rain. This is for Fext Hobby. He also has 02 on his helmet, so I don't know if that's a part of his call sign. Maybe he's War Banner 02, or if it's because he's a second figure. Not 100% sure there, because there's no bio anywhere. It's one of the downsides of the box. We have 6-inch here to describe that it is the 6-inch line. We have a portrait here and kind of a tactical pose. Nothing on this side. And then on the back we have another window, this time showing the exoskeleton. We have a picture of the exoskeleton here. Another action pose. This time he's aiming his rifle. He's also got the cannon attached. Then over here we have the accessories and the figure. Helmet, exosuit, which is this part, this part, this part, the cannon, and then the weapons. We have a pistol, a rifle, and you'll see these pieces here. They're the little peg holes that would go into the side of the armor when you take the exosuit off. One warning down here that I do want to mention: do not wipe the product with thinner benzene alcohol to avoid surface damage and paint fading. Obviously, don't wipe thinner over your figures, but really be careful with this one. Another portrait on the side here. We have high visibility letters, so they are going to kind of bounce with the light. And yellow is common with Acid Rain, at least it seems in this line specifically right now. Out of the box, the first thing you may notice is that there is a lack of weathering, or maybe a little hard to tell on camera. But there isn't the normal 1/18 scale Acid Rain weathering that we're used to, where they have a pretty nice dark wash on them. But this does work for the 6-inch line because there are more details that are sculpted into this versus the 1/18 scale line. So I think it's a pretty good trade-off. Plus, if you really wanted to, you can add a black wash yourself. It's not that hard to do, and you could say you did it. One of the things that really pops on this figure, I will say, is the orange exosuit. Even with the lack of weathering, it's just very noticeable. And besides the orange, you have the yellow or gold on the helmet, which is also very noticeable and pops pretty well. Now, I would say that the main point of this figure is to show off the exosuit. These are kind of, in my opinion, hard to get an exosuit in the regular Acid Rain scale. I've been collecting the line for the past couple years, and I think I have maybe one. So it's one of those things that is sort of rare, and all of these figures except for one have the exosuit. So I'm hoping that we start to get figures without the exosuit, because it would be nice to just have a couple plain ones to maybe use as customs. But I'll take an exosuit where I can get one, because it's really cool to see all the details and just the engineering that went into making sure that you can still have a wide range of motion with the exosuit and that doesn't hinder it at all is really cool. So while I have the figure in hand, we're going to go over the exosuit real quick. Now, while this is removable, the plastic is very tight and you can stress it. Even with some heat, there were some spots that were giving me some trouble, specifically down here. For that reason, because of how much it was stressed, I'm not going to take the exosuit off of this figure. I just don't want to damage it. But I will go over the articulation and everything, and what spots are easy to detach and what spots aren't. Let me pop his pistol off here. And we're going to start with the top. So you can see these like hydraulic looking systems, and they all are able to move. So disconnected from the arm piece here, it is a 2-part system. One part is connected to here, which allows it to pull, and it can get in pretty far, out pretty far. And then this part also does the same thing, and it slides, and that allows it to move when you bend the arm. So let me reattach this and I'll show you what I mean. So there's the arm straight out, and there's the arm bent up. Thanks to a double jointed elbow, we can get a great range of motion there. Even with the arms posed up in a T pose, that's where you disconnect, is when you start to rotate it back. I don't know if that's just by design so it doesn't break, but if you shift that down, it does work. So you just have to make sure that you're aware of where the hydraulic system would be. For the most part, though, it does move on its own pretty well, corresponding to the pose that you're trying to put the figure into. You just kind of got to move it around and play with it. Now, to the spine, which this part is really cool. So as he bends forward, you can see it start to stretch out, which is going to give him a nice ab crunch going forward. And then going back, you can kind of get him to go back a little bit, but you're not going to get a whole lot there. Turn side to side, or lean inside the side, I should say. It's pretty good. And then turning, you're going to see it really stretch out to the max. So you can have him almost turn all the way around, even with the exosuit on. And it's going in both directions. Now, it's attached at the spine down in here. And even with some heat, I'll probably have to give it a lot of heat and just play with it to wiggle it out. But I can see that it was getting stressed. And I really don't want to break the figure having this. Even though I have another one of these guys, I really just don't want to be with a broken one. So for me personally, I'm just going to leave that there for now. Moving down to the legs, we have 2 connection points up here and then down here. And these are double jointed legs, so you're going to get a nice range of motion, and you can see that with the exosuit outlined very well. The only thing I've noticed that other exosuits have, or other, like Joy Toy has an exosuit too, is they do attach to the boots down here normally. They don't have it on this one. Again, this could be Acid Rain's rendition of it, but normally that's how they are. That's usually how part of the exosuit works. I don't know if that was forgotten, or like I said, maybe just their rendition of it. And then a last piece of the exosuit, but it isn't attached to the exosuit, is going to be this here. I believe this is a battery, because there's a cable that runs up to here. And then this probably runs into the back to power the exosuit. So overall, I'd say the exosuit is very cool. And I believe this is the first 1/12 scale figure that we have. I could be wrong, but with an exosuit. So I'll take it. He's going to stand out on the shelf for sure. Now moving into the regular articulation of the figure himself, we'll start from the head and work our way down. We're going to have a great range of motion here because we have separate neck and head peg over here, so you can get huge range of motion. You need him to look down to the sides. As long as you get it over this armor piece here, he can look up, just put his neck forward a little bit. He can look down very well. You can even go down further if you wanted them to. Love it when figures have that much range of motion there. To the arms, even with the exosuit, you can get a nice T-pose. Then we have double jointed elbows. And we have a swivel here on the bicep. This is hindered a little bit by the suit, but like I said, if you play with these like hydraulic things, you can get them to move. This armor piece is also loose, so if you want to take that off, I'm sure you could just pop the arm out of the socket, slide that off, and he's unarmored. Moving over to the torso, this piece does not come off. It is solid, stuck to the armor bit. I may have missed this Novark part when I was going over the deco, but that is on there. If not, there you go. To the armor itself, this does not come off. It's part of the sculpt. And with that sculpt, we have a ball joint up in here. We also have a lower ball joint down below here. So he's got a good range of motion in the torso. Can lean left, lean right, look all the way down, just like I did with the exosuit, just to go over that separately. And then, like I said, back is kind of hindered just because of the spine here. I guarantee you he could get further back without this on there. This joint down here, I don't know what's up with this. It does not move. It looks like it's sculpted to move, but I'm not 100% sure why that is like that. Moving down to the legs. Well, before I get to the legs, is a good amount of turn there. So even with the exosuit. My apologies. Now moving down to the legs. We don't have a great range of motion going up. I feel like drop hips could have really made this figure stand out. But even without it, you can still get a pretty good range of motion. We do have a cut at the thigh, so there's a swivel there. Again, hindered by this. Detach this, you're not going to have much issues. So, not really a big deal. We have double jointed knees. There's your articulation there. And then down to the feet, We have a cut at the boot, so we have a swivel. And then we have rocker ankles, and then toe articulation, which is pretty tight, but you can get it to go up. So you got plenty of posability with this guy. Going over to the hands real quick. One thing I think that this line should have done is maybe have different hands introduced. But knowing how Acid Rain figures are, some of the parts are kind of a pain to change. Not totally against it, but I would like to see that maybe introduced. And for the hands, we have just hinges. And this doesn't really hinge up, although it looks like it could. But it does hinge down pretty good. So you can get a nice pose there with that. And then on this side, instead of hinging up and down, it hinges out, which doesn't really work because it's blocked by this armor, but it can hinge in very well. I just wanted to do a little quick comparison to another scaled military figure, which is a G.I. Joe. And you can see he is just a little bit taller than him, but I think it's just the helmet. I think that they are actually the same size. Width-wise, you can see that he is a whole lot bulkier. I think it's just the way that the sculpt runs out, because it's more slimline, more human for a G.I. Joe, where they kind of really extenuated the arms here, and it's like a separate piece. Plus, I think with the butterfly joints, it really does that there. But like you could see, he's just literally like maybe a centimeter or two taller. But I mean, other than that, he looks really well. The weapons from G.I. Joe are probably going to scale pretty well with these guys. I mean, just quickly, you can see that there. So if you have like Gridiron Studio weapons, or Valorverse, if you have Valorverse weapons, those will probably scale pretty nice with this line. You are going to have to make a small extended cut. So you can see there's a little bit of light between the finger there. You're going to have to cut it all the way back just to get that little bit of extra motion there with the finger so that you can get it into the triggers of some of the guns. Overall, I think that this is a statement piece for $35 to $40. You're getting an import quality figure for a pretty good price. The armor system is unlike anything that we've really had in 1/12 scale. It's got that like sci-fi kind of grounded look to it. They're pretty modular, and there's a lot that I can see that you can do with them. I can't wait to see what some people do with them. I would say that this is a must buy for anybody who's into that military sci-fi look, that's also looking to expand upon their G.I. Joe collection to get a little bit more, variety in there. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.